This is Open Door with Vince Robinson. In-depth conversations with people who are making a difference in the lives of others here and around the world. Culture is at the heart of who you are. Know your culture, find yourself on Open Door with Vince Robinson.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another edition of Open Door with Vince Robinson. You know, I usually begin my broadcasts by reading a bio, but today the person that I am talking to does not need a bio for an introduction. I would just characterize him as a good friend, a brother, and an artist who just happens to be from the great country of Ghana, who has been here in the Cleveland area for at least 6 years, and he continues to do great things. Right now, he is actually in Ghana, attending to some funerary services for his mother, but he is gracious enough to have this conversation with me from halfway across the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Open Door with Vince Robinson, my brother, Nana Agyare. His name is Kwesi Agyare, and he is my brother. How you doing today?
I'm good, Vincent. How are you too, Vince?
I'm doing excellent. I'm glad to hear your voice. You know, my condolences to you for what you are going through right now. But as I tell folks all the time, you know, the beauty of transition is that when our ancestors become our ancestors, they are in a position to help us. So I am thinking that your mother, where she is now, will be and will continue to be the wind beneath your wings, and you will go on to accomplish great things as a result of what has happened. So that's
absolutely. I totally agree with you.
Yes, absolutely. So,
Totally agree.
so just a little background. Back in 2019, actually, I connected with you through your manager, Sherry Herbin, and she impressed upon me that you had a great desire to come to America and you needed a place to show your work. And it just so happened that I had a gallery on Larchmere, and it became the site of your very first solo exhibition. And after that, you just took off, brother. I turned around and you were showing here and you were showing there. And it was like you just hit the ground running, and you have established yourself as one of Cleveland's most prominent artists. So I congratulate you on that history. And I have to ask you, first of all, what is Nana Agyare working on now?
Well, Vince, I would like to say that a big thank you for this great opportunity, and also greetings to all your decent listeners, you know, and I count it all joy anytime when I get opportunity to interact with you, because you've always been the foundation, you know, of my journey in America. A lot of people don't really know, but my relationship with you go way back by you coming even as far as coming to Ghana, getting to know my house, where I live and everything. So I just want to set the record straight. You know, sometimes we show, you know, like ungratitude, and I don't want to be part of that. I really want to let you know that I'm very grateful for everything you've done for me. Fast forward to your question. Currently, I'm in Ghana, just like you rightly said, burying my mother, and I'm done with it. And I'm looking forward to the next page of mine, Arts Life, in 2026. And it's actually going to be awesome. Basically, what I do is that every year I take a particular color, and I work with that particular color. This year, it was yellow, you know, all kinds of yellow. And that is how I work. And also I get a theme for my exhibition. So last year it was actually womanism. So it was basically about celebrating women, empowering women, showing their tenacity, their love, their care, you know, how beautiful they are, how powerful they are in the society. And it was awesome because I have a couple of exhibitions, and so far so good. The feedback was good. I had a lot of feedback, which was very encouraging. And you know, 2026 is going to be, you know, a very good year, where I'm actually going to also show the other side of my art world or art field. So far, yeah, that's what I'm doing now.
So, are you saying that there will be exhibitions in Ghana then?
Yes. I don't want to say this, but I think I'm going to break the ice on your show. So this is what I intend doing. Back in Ghana, we don't have any awards nights for artists, like so artists, we have a lot of artists who are not being celebrated. And so 2026, one of the things, and your gallery is going to be part of the sponsors. So I just want you to know where there's going to be an exchange of artists. So artists from Cleveland will go to Ghana, and then Ghana will come to Cleveland. And one of the galleries actually have assigned for that, what do you call it? That program as your gallery, because your gallery was actually the real foundation. It is not loud, but it's something about your gallery that a lot of people haven't paid attention to. Your gallery exposes people, gives the best exposure, because most of the galleries, people come to the gallery because of the name of the gallery. But people come to your gallery because the artist is not well known, and so the artist is known, So I, inculcated your library in what I'm doing. So part of the thing is that there's going to be awards night in Ghana. So we're going to celebrate some of the prominent and legend artists in this country. And it's part of the things I'm doing currently now as I'm here.
Yes. Well, it really is important for us to get to a place where we honor our own, because so many times we depend on and we rely on others to validate us. And when they fail to do that, it leaves us feeling like something is missing.
Absolutely.
One thing that I've noticed lately, Nana, is that our sisters are very adept at honoring each other. So when you look at things like Black Girls Rock, I just attended something and I shot an event for the YWCA called Women of Achievement. There are other entities here in Cleveland that honor women, but we don't necessarily see anything that honors Black men. And then if you want to expand it beyond that, what do we have? What do we have? And the operative word is we. What do we have that honors artists? There's the Cleveland Arts Prize, but that's not us. That's somebody else. True. So what do we do to honor our folks? I think brothers are on the short end of that stick, but in a wider sense, when it comes to honoring artists, and we have who's who in Black Cleveland, which is, I'm just going to be frank, it's kind of,
I know you.
It's really, I mean, just speaking honestly, it's really kind of a self-promotion vehicle that allows people to come together in a nice room that, is not our room. It's some fancy hotel or conference center or whatever. And we go in there and we give them our money and we dress up and wear our suits and gowns and, smile at each other and talk about each other behind each other's back. I mean, that's the reality. I'm just being real.
You're being real. Yeah, you're being real. Yeah,
I'm being real.
You're very honest.
But
I love that.
But what do we do, as artists to honor each other? And I think that's something that needs to happen. And something else came up for me. And I know this show is about you, but I'm just kind of venting right now. We have all these artists who create the work that they create. But we don't have a database that I'm aware of, and I could be wrong about this, but we don't have a database of Black patrons of the arts. And we need to have some type of situation so that the Black folks who are interested in purchasing art can be known, and the artists who create art can connect with them to increase their marketplace. Because the reality is we have a few galleries in town, and as you've expressed, getting into those galleries is not easy. And then you also have the fact that exhibitions are scheduled out years in advance. And so it's difficult for artists to get their work shown. And that's one of the reasons that Larchmere Arts is so important, because folks don't have to go through all that red tape. It's just a matter of having a
Absolutely.
conversation. You ready to show your work? Okay, cool. We got a rail system. We got hooks.
Mm,
Hang it on
mm,
the hook, put it on the wall,
mm,
describe it,
mm.
sell it, and everybody's happy. But we need to have a database of folks who can be reached out to because they have a genuine interest in
I,
purchasing art.
Vin- Vince, I totally agree with you. You said it all. With my few years in Cleveland and also in America per se, I have traveled very, like far, wide, explored a lot of things in the US itself. Believe it or not, Cleveland is the only art place that most artists, especially local artists, are not celebrated. I'm being honest with you. It's on record, and I can give you facts. I'm not just talking. I can give you real facts that you go to Mocha. It's actually on the land of Cleveland. How many local artists do host exhibitions over there? No. Why? Because you just like you said, we don't have the correct database for all the artists. So for me, this is what I decide to do from Cleveland. I decide because I'm also from Cleveland now, so this is what I decide to do. That can we create a gallery that will feature actually only local artists, and promote them. Look at the magazine. Is it Can magazine, Can General? How many local artists are being celebrated in that magazine? Let's be realistic. I just sometimes, I don't want us to talk. People might say, "Oh, we're just talking." This, like there's no base on, No, I'm being real over here. Anybody at all, I challenge anybody at all in Cleveland, and I put my reputation on the line. Tell me how many local artists have been celebrated. Let's be real.
Yes.
I mean,
Well,
what I'm saying,
well, I can answer the question because I happen to have a relationship with Can Journal. I've written a few articles for them, and I know that there is a certain level of interest in local artists, and I will give Michael Gill credit for reaching out, but still there's also a lack of presence of many of the artists of color, and he has done some feature work. I remember once he asked me to write an article about a sister who was a curator for MoCA, and she was actually the first black curator that they had ever had in like 30 or 40 years of existence. And there's this whole notion of a certain level of anti-blackness at that museum. And I think what they have done is, in order to compensate for that, they have invited some local artists and artists of color to participate. But I think that there could be greater opportunity. And I'll just say this.
Then why should it be a second thought? Why shouldn't it be even a second thought?
Right.
Or afterthought? Because it was like, okay, well, in order not to, like let people talk, let's do this so at least we can, hold their speech or hold their thought or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is, yes, Can is doing so well. I've featured in it so many times. But when I came here, it was difficult. Then, it was very difficult. It's like you must know somebody to know somebody, even when you're doing a great job.
Yes.
I think they should scout out, like galleries should present, like the various artists who are hosting exhibitions to them. I know they're doing well, and I give them the credit all the time. I mean, Mike is a great person. I met him personally. We always have good chat. He never discriminates, never look like, his doors are always opened. I love that. But what I'm saying is that when you go deep into it, you realize that most local artists are not being celebrated. And just like I said, 2026 is one of the things I'm really going to do. I don't know. I can't do it alone. I know assemblies of artists there. We have a couple of people, and like great people like Gwen. You're there. In the mayor's office, Rhonda is there. We have, like prominent people that we can sit down and talk about this and promote and elevate local artists. Because when you go to a place like Philly, you're part of the team that went their events, and you saw that, almost every corner there's a mirror over there. You know why? Because those mirrors actually project the local artists. So when you go there, they mention the person's name. Oh, yeah, so and so. You get to know them. I know most Cleveland artists are not really forthcoming because over the years, nobody is there to support them. Grants have been taken by the same people every time. Any time, any day, the same people are taking the grants. And the real artists are there struggling because there's nobody there. Most artists, and Vince, you can, if I'm lying, please can you help me out? Or if I'm saying something like so, most artists are not business minded. They are not, like business inclined, because he's always in the studio. Always in the studio. And I think most artists, we need managers who can help us. The funds should go to the right people. Let them do something that will help the community. Like, for instance, I've done a couple of murals all over the place, from Kent, to County, to Mount Pleasant, like Huff, I've been doing this, travel all over, been doing this. One major thing that I realized is that artists are really celebrated through murals, because people travel all the way, tourists come there, they see, they take pictures, then they can scan. It promotes the artists, the local artists. The local artist is known outside Cleveland. And then it helps because, look, after all this, Vince, it also generates income, to the city and to the whole community as well, because the community benefits from it. People come there, they eat, they look at it, they patronize the shops, the food, eatery place over there. They go there, they patronize. So they bring income to the community. Communities are developed because they realize that people are coming there, and so it brings back that vibrancy in most of the communities. So for me, like, it's the same thing over here in Ghana. I realize that most of the artists are not being celebrated. Vince, let me be honest with you, they are better artists than me, far better artists than me. But then they didn't have that kind of opportunity I had. So I am on top over there, but I can tell people down there that, look, this is what we're doing so great. All they need is a little support. A little support. Artists do great job. Nobody buys it, so they sell it so cheap just to make, just to make something small to eat. And we can do this. And guess what? Sometimes this same artists, people buy the work so cheap, and they take it to these subways and all this, and they auction the works as if it's arm and leg. And meanwhile, the real artist is suffering somewhere. Can't even buy food for himself and for the family. And I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right. It's heartbreaking because anytime when I get opportunity like this, I feel like crying because artists are starving. I heard that slogan, are you part of the starving artists? No, we are not starving artists. We are thriving artists. We are doing so well, but nobody cares about us. Nobody thinks about any artist. But meanwhile, even the dress you're wearing, Vince, it's an artist's work. You buy it so much, but you don't even appreciate the one who is doing it. And it's heartbreaking. I'm a Cleveland artist. Even though I'm known anywhere, everywhere, most of the places, I am from Cleveland. And I can never move without Cleveland. Cleveland is part of my code. So if there's something good, let's promote the local artists, please. Listen,
yes.
This is not too much. I don't think it costs so much for us to organize just a little event. Let's honor these people. Let's honor them. Let's bring back that spirit in them. Let's stir that thing in them. Stir it up. They are great artists. I'm telling you. Because nobody is there to support them.
Yes.
I remember the first place I went was Eddie Parker. Is he Eddie Parker, right?
Yes.
Eddie Parker, right?
Mm-hmm.
I went there. Guess what? I went there. I said, please, how can we help other artists? I wasn't even thinking about myself. I was thinking of, I've even gone too far. Even you, Vince, you don't know me from Adam, but you give me your place. Why? Because you saw the potential in me. Why can't we do that? Why can't we promote the local artists? Create events outside. Let's promote them. Mocha is there. There should be a correct data. Let's have it like from the west side and the east side. Okay, one from here, one from there. Let's do it. Every year, let's make sure 6 local artists, 6 international artists. Let's do it. I
Yes.
didn't build Mocha. It's my suggestion. Please, nobody should, come after me. But I'm just is my humble suggestion
Yes.
that I know for sure that you have the local artists. You have a lot of galleries over there. Let's help to build each other.
Well, if
Let's
I could
help.
interject, I've been saying this for a few months or perhaps a few years, but I think there should be a place in the Cleveland Museum of Art for Cleveland artists. It doesn't take a whole lot to just dedicate a space to the work of local artists, and then it can truly be the Cleveland Museum of Art. And I know it's an international showcase and people come from other places to see the exhibitions, but I just think that we've gotten to a place where it's time to dedicate space within that museum for Cleveland artists as well as MoCA. So again, we can celebrate local artists. So I just want to put that out there. But two, I think that we've gotten to a place where we really have to, just based on what you were saying about how art contributes to the economy, we have to figure a place for art in the budget of the city of Cleveland and the budget of the Cuyahoga or the county of Cuyahoga. There has to be some significant funding or legislation or whatever it takes so that the arts can be fully supported. You invoked the example of Philadelphia, which is a city of murals, 4, 5, 6,000 murals in that city. But the reason that those murals are there is because the mayor of that city decided that he wanted to stand behind a program to support that. And so when you fast forward to this year, there's $10 million in their city budget for that mural program. To my knowledge, Cleveland doesn't have an appropriation on that level. And as far as I know, most of the art that's paid for by the city comes through the budgets of city council people who have access to funds that they can use to pay for those public art installations. But the thing about art is that art is more than just murals. I mean, the murals are great, and I fully support that. I celebrate them because they bring life to areas that don't otherwise have it. So, for instance, Impart 216, the mural project that you worked on with Dr. Tamika Ellington and the other artists that were a part of that team that was led by Robin Robinson. Great work, but there are so many other genres of art that need to be supported and need to be celebrated. So I stand behind you in the idea that we need to celebrate our artists. And I think you have inspired a thought about ways that we can do that. It could be as simple as an event where you invite people into a room and you say the people's names.
That's it.
That's it. It doesn't have to be complicated. You just have a
That's
gathering and lift their names, and we do that. So I'm going to
something
pledge
like
to
that.
work on something like that, and I have a few ideas
Please.
that we can move forward. Since we invoked the Transformative Art Fund, I want to have a conversation with you about your participation on that project and where you see the
Right.
value of Impart 216. And if you can, just tell us what that experience was like for you.
It was, I don't even have the words to explain how I feel about that. It was good. I mean, my mother said something that when you're excited about something, don't exaggerate or something. So I will put it in this context that it was mind blowing. The reason was because seeing different artists coming together, with different skills and different approach to everything. I think, man, I will applaud those people who put in that project. Man, for me, it is not only about the artist also alone, but for me, it's about the community itself and how the kind of energy we put it in during the preparation. It was awesome. We had a lot of meetings, meeting other artists, sharing ideas, like putting things together, how we're going to start to me, I think it was a total pack of something that almost all the artists who participated in it will say they've learned a lot of things or they learned something from it because, you know, individual works are different from group works, and working together, you learn skills and techniques or, like sharing ideas and how you approach and things that, you might think you're doing so well about something. You realize that there's a, very easy way of doing it or in the modern way of doing things. And it really empowered almost every artist on that project. And for me, that speaks a lot of volume. It went from, emails. I thought it was even a joke when Robin Robinson, called me and, later asked me for my email. And then from there, it went forth. And I was, normally you hear a lot of calls and emails and, like after a year, they don't follow it up again. So I was there when she called and she said, this is what is going to happen. Are you ready? I said, yes, I'm ready. I'm ready to put in all my best because for me, I believe in giving back to the community, to the society. So I was really ready for it. And we started with, meetings again, and you came in. We went to Philadelphia, to have a feel of how murals are done, how murals are positioned, and the kind of materials they use because, we all know, Philly is known to be a place for mirrors. So we went there, we had a very good time, sharing ideas, moving from one place to the other, having a real tour, brought a lot of experiences to most of us. So for me, I think transformation, it was a power-packed program, which I wish is actually not going to end, but it will continue like this so that at least gradually, 10 years to come, Cleveland is also going to be known as, a city of mirrors. So.
Yes. Well, I will say this about the project, and it was the seventh project to be approved, and it was actually created by the Transformative Art Fund Committee because we had six projects, but then we had some additional dollars that needed to be passed out. And so the combination of Rhonda Brown, who is the chief strategist for arts, culture, and the creative economy with the city of Cleveland under Mayor Justin Bibb, and then the other counterparts who were on that committee, we put our heads together and we actually created that program. So, it was just, I guess, a stroke of luck or perhaps a blessing that it even happened and that you were able to participate. The mural that you created with Dr. Tamika Ellington is on the former Two Cousins building right there at the junction of East 140th Street, Union and Kinsman. Talk to us about what inspired that mural.
Well, personally, anytime when I'm doing mural, I don't rush to do mural because I need to put paints on the walls. But I do a lot of background check. I do a lot of research. I go into the community, communicate with them, ask them questions. What are some of the things that they need in the community? What are some of the things that inspires them in the community? What are some of the prominent people in the community who lived in the community? What and who can they celebrate in the community? And by so doing, it gave me the idea that those women over there were, I heard that there were 14 ladies or women who were killed in that community. If I'm wrong, the number is 14 or 9 women were killed, in that community by someone. 4 women. And when you look at it, the middle, there was a lady, a mature woman with a rod in her hand. And what it means is that it's like the rod and the staff, they comfort me. So the leader, somebody who was leading them, and I picked that concept and I use it over there to celebrate the women in the community, let them have that kind of
like love, the belonging. That will let them feel like, oh, so our efforts are being rewarded, not being brushed, but it's being rewarded. So I did that with those beautiful identical symbols. And so I picked all those symbols and also to celebrate, because those symbols actually have meanings. And I put it all together. They are even the dress they are wearing was actually, when you critically look at it, it has all the colors in this world. They have, and then also kente is one of the fabrics that is being used in Ghana to celebrate. Like during occasion, that's what they wear. And so I did that design to just celebrate. And lo and behold, that building was actually owned by two cousins. They were ladies. So I said, oh my God, this is actually a perfect idea. And so I did a sketch and I gave it to the two cousins owner, the guy who owns the place. And then it was actually three. When he saw that particular painting, he told me this painting is the best painting among all the artworks that has been presented to him. And I was like, are you sure? He said, yes. I asked him, why? So he said, listen, your work doesn't limit anything. It has a broad meaning. You can see Africa somewhere, you can see Europe somewhere, you can see Asia somewhere, you can see everything. It has nothing like Christian, it has nothing like Muslim, it has nothing like, everything is in it. And that makes it so unique. And that's how I came up with that concept,
Okay. And Dr. Tamika Ellington was also a part of that installation. Can you talk about what her role was in the creation?
Oh, sorry. Dr. Ellington she is an amazing person. She's clearly an amazing person. Most of the work that you see over there, she was the person, actually, she was the one who designed it in the computer. I do the hand and she put everything in the computer. So she designed everything, printed everything out, did a sketch with me. So we brainstormed together. So I did my research. She also did her research, and we put it together. And so everything that you see over there, it was actually done by the two of us. Because my knowledge is raw, but Tamika has the academic background, which makes it more unique. And so her support in doing that was very great.
Yes.
Yeah, very great.
Well, there are some other ironies involved in that, because Dr. Ellington also wrote a book about hair. So when you look at the history of that building, Two Cousins was a hair care products business, and I think it still is.
Absolutely.
So there's a great
black hair in the white community.
Yes.
Oh my God, that is so true.
Yes. Yep. And
that is so true. That is so true. She was so crazy about the whole project and I didn't understand. But she kept like, man, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be great. I'm sure she herself didn't even realize that. It has something to do with the book. And it's true.
Yeah. Well, just another common thread.
That's beautiful.
Just another common thread. Dr. Ellington was part of a group of students and faculty who went to Ghana in 2019. And one of the other artists who worked on that project with you, Lacey Talley, was also with that group of students and faculty that went to Ghana back in 2019. So it's really kind of a kismet situation that you all worked together on this project. And on top of that, you were able to put the Adinkra symbols on that in that mural. So you have actually planted some messages for the folks who live in that community, and you have given them some exposure to history that they may not know about. So it's a beautiful thing that you all did.
And you know what I did? One of the things that I did that really, it was kind of fascinating, if I can put it that way, was the fact that I involved the community. So people come there to come and buy hair products, and I'll let them climb, the lift. I'll put them up there, give them brush and paint. And the reason behind it is because I want them to own the mural. It's like, okay, I'm part of it. So when you see somebody doing or damaging it, you can stand out you can stand up and say, look, don't do it because I'm part of it. This is beautiful. And for me, it was one of the amazing things that I can never let go, because I mean, the old women were there, old men, young folks were there, and it was amazing.
Yes.
And it was beautiful.
And it is an expansive mural. It's not a small mural. It takes up literally the whole side of that building. So it's something that you cannot miss.
That is crazy. That is crazy. When they give me the mural, Robin asked me, man, I know your wall is big. Can you do it? I said, man, you trusted me, so that's why I'll do that. I work day, night over there. Morning as early as 5 a.m. I'm on site. And I will leave there after 9. I will leave there after 9. And that's kind of just like, I just want to put this in across there. There's a kind of perception about that area. Oh, it's not safe. That area is not safe. I worked into, I think, around 10. And nothing. Nobody even came to bother me. Nobody. So to me, I think sometimes too, we put so much, negativities out there, and it affects the community so much that even the people over there feel the impact. Because remember, names are powerful. So if you call somebody a fool, all that you're expecting the person is to behave that way. Because in the minds of the person, psychologically, you let the person believe that I'm a fool. So what else can I do? So I think we need to change that narrative, about Mount Pleasant is the place that you need to joke around after 9. No. I'm saying this. No, I worked into late hours and nobody came to bother me.
Yes.
No one.
Well, there's another aspect of community ownership in that, and that is that one of the other buildings that was involved in that was a place where someone used to live, and they came back and they got some funding from the city to do a rehab on that building. And not only that,
yes,
the building is being rehabbed, but it also has a nice new mural on it. So,
mural, yes,
it's like you're saying, it's the gift that keeps on giving, because the funding for that project is basically done. The project continues to live on. It continues to have a life after the project, so to speak. So just wanted to put that out there. Nana, I'd like to talk.
And
go ahead.
that.
Go ahead.
Sorry, that project, when I heard the guy talking about it, I was so happy. I was ready to support him any way I can do that. Why? Because this is what a guy is trying to do. Just bring back technology to the young kids over there. So instead of going outside, joining all kinds of things and playing all kinds of games and all those things, and this guy is building that. It's more like a technology for the kids to come and learn. And I was so happy about it. Anyway, we hope this place will just like you said, will live on, even when we're all gone, people will still go there and learn something from there.
Yeah. Well, I really like what you said about letting some of the folks who were there work on the mural itself, because as you said, they have a certain sense of ownership in it. And if they have that sense of ownership, then they're not going to deface it. And I'm sure that you all did some things to make sure that it can't be destroyed or affected by graffiti or whatever. But again, it's just so important for us to bring life to the walls in this community, and not just the walls on the exterior, but also the walls on the interior. That's another vision that I have for spaces in the city. There are public spaces, there are private spaces, and the walls are just waiting for art that is created by artists in this community. And again, this is one of the ways that we stimulate the economy, because you pay the artist for the art, and then the artist takes the money that they've been paid with, and they purchase supplies, and they pay rent, and they pay car notes, and they do all the other things that we do in order to make a living and not be starving. You invoked something earlier in our conversation about the whole notion of artists starving. And it's not necessary that you be an artist and you have to starve. But I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about the fact that artists need to have management and they need to have some type of connection to a business plan or some type of mechanism that allows them to enjoy success and as an artist and not have to starve. So you've been in the country for 6 years and you've managed to be a part of other exhibitions. Can you talk about some of the other spaces that you've been in and some of the projects, some of the other projects that you've worked on?
Yes. Well, I've been in the country for almost about roughly 6 years, in and out. My first exhibition was held at, Larchmere, which is your gallery. And then from there, I did a couple of shows in Washington, in the Reform. And then back again, I did a show at the African American Museum, and then from there, I did a couple of shows and in-house around, and then I moved to Icon I think is the West End Market Gallery. So I did a show over there. It's been back to back. But I just want to talk about the one I had, that's a recent one, which is the one, what's the name, the West End Gallery or East End Gallery, which is owned by Charlie and then the mother. It was a very good one, and I would say it's a very good one because it took us almost a year to organize that kind of exhibition. And it was well executed. And again, it was Dr. Tamika, who is managing me. So most of the things were handled by her. And so that actually gave me that kind of space to work, to be in the gallery and not to think about whether I'm late in doing something and especially Dr. Tamika being academia, she taught in Kent University. So, and coming to manage me, it wasn't easy. A lot of things changed in my life because she would not take certain artworks, she was more like, do this. This is what I want. At the point in time, I was like, listen, don't come and dictate to me. I'm an artist. This is what I want to do. But I realized that I needed somebody who would guide me. And she did an amazing job, awesome job. So we had a good title. So everything was discussed by us. And I did also a couple of exhibitions with Liz. Liz also did a show. So Liz came to my studio. And so Tamika actually came to my studio. We sat down. We dialogued how to go about it. And we came out with a name, which is Womanism. So Womanism is about celebrating women. And also in a cubism form, in a cube form. So not like, like a real face. So you see the faces, but not really details. You can see the eyes and everything. And then she told me point blank that I love all your styles, but I think let's maintain this style of your painting because that really defined you well compared to the other artworks that you've been doing. And she made me aware that she's not condemning the other works, though, but she just wanted me to be known by one particular work because I told her that I'm a versatile. I want to do whatever I want to do. I set my hands on this. I want to use it. And she was like, no, let us know you by this. So that at least anytime somebody, come across that painting without even looking at your signature, the person can tell that this painting belongs to you. And so we started that. It was an amazing, Vince. It was amazing. We got opportunity to be in the Cannes General, and we're blessed to have some prominent people over there, and sales was good, and it was one. To be honest with you, compared that to Larchmere, I think Larchmere was my largest number though. But then, West End gave me that kind of another face that brought, me to some kind of a level, moved me from one level to the other. Because the kind of people who came there, it was amazing seeing, people who are art collectors and people who are into it. And Mark was there. and Les was there. I mean, just mention the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And I would say that it was good. It was good for me.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the Liz that you're speaking of is Liz Moggins, and she, I believe, was one of the
Liz
founders of Zygote Press, and then she's in another space. I think it's off West 3rd Street downtown, and I can't think of the name of the gallery that she's managing, but she has definitely been a partner in the arts. So we've had this conversation about your work, and what you just shared about what Dr. Ellington impressed upon you is so important, because I'm at a place now when I see Nana Agyare's work, I know it's his. When you see Picasso, you know it's Picasso. When you see Romare Bearden, you know that it's Romare Bearden just because of the way it's presented. So yeah, your work definitely has a certain look to it, and when I see it, I know it's you. So someone gave you some wise counsel, but on the other hand, you do have to have the liberty to create whatever you're inspired to create. So I just want to encourage you to continue doing what you're doing, but to be bold, to break rules, and to create what your heart inspires you to create.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I think I also want to say this about Liz. I don't know, but if you can spare me, let me say this: that woman, she's a blessing to every artist in Cleveland. That's what I can say. Liz, she's just a blessing to every artist in Cleveland. Yes.
Yes.
She has a way of putting a smile on your face even when you're down. She has a way of promoting each and every artist, regardless of whatever it is. She's always there to support you.
I remember what
always there.
I can remember it's Worthington Yards. That's the gallery that she's managing, and she's also involved in creating a festival, and I believe that festival is something that is slated to happen sometime in the summer of 2026. So we will look forward to that. So Nana, you've been at this for a while, and we haven't really talked about what inspired you to become an artist. I know we've interviewed before, and I have a general understanding, but for the benefit of those who are listening to this podcast, I'm just curious for you to express what motivated you to become an artist.
Well, actually, I'm not an artist. I didn't start school, studying arts. No, naturally born, of both African parents, always want to impose on you what they want you to do, not what you want to do, because they are paying your school fees. So they have the right to tell you, do this and do that. And so growing up, my daddy always wanted me to be either a medical doctor or an engineer. So I did my best, pass all my exams, get into secondary school. I did my arts, and I, went to university, and that was how my story of art actually started. So along the line, I wanted to be a medical doctor. So I'm trying, learning, it was quite difficult, but I just wanted to respect my parents. I want to honor my parents. So I managed it gradually. But I got to a time, I got stuck because of something called hemophobia. So hemophobia is the fear of blood. I don't see blood. I don't want to see blood. I don't anything about blood. No, I can't, because it's so strong that when I see blood, I feel like I'm dying. Like I get, like, I don't know how to put it. I don't know how to express it, but I feel like I'm stuck. I don't know what to do, like dying. I tried it so many times. But let me put it on record. Not all doctors per se, but some doctors drink and smoke because they have that kind of problem, the challenge. So it takes away that fear from them. And so I had like this professor who just called me and said, something, don't kill yourself. You're very good. You can draw very well. You know how to draw. You're labeling. Man, you're very good, with Anthony. But I want you to go ahead and then do art because that's where your passion is. That's where your interest is. So in fact, he motivated me. I didn't tell my parents that I've deferred my course because if my mother hears about it, she's okay, but my father. So I didn't tell any of them, and I deferred my course. And I started doing art. So I went to the art class, and I was doing so well to extend that I enjoyed the whole thing. It's like every day I just want to get out of bed and go to the art class because I enjoy what I was doing. Lo and behold, my daddy got to know that I was doing art. He disowned me. I always say this. He disowned me. So it was my mother who was there to support me. So buying art materials, it was my mother who was there for me. So I said to myself, why did my dad disown me? He disowned me because of one major thing. Art in Africa, nobody regards it. Nobody will respect artists in Ghana, in Africa. And now I realize that now, even most part of the world, artists are not, celebrated or regarded. Like even when they are sharing something, they don't even add artists. Even when the whole nation is sharing something, they don't even have some for artists. So I said to myself, I'm going to change that narrative. Let people understand that art and artists is also part of the professions in this world. So I made my mind, I'm going to change the story. So my father sacked me from the house, but still my mother was taking care of me. So right after school, I hosted an exhibition. I made a lot of money. I was in the newspapers, in the radio, being interviewed everywhere, and sales was good. So after, I went to see my pastor because I'm a Christian. So when I was going to host my exhibition, he prayed for me. So I went back and I spoke to him about it, that this is what happened. And he said, something, there's something called blessings. And I said, yes. He said, okay, but you can be blessed more by doing something. And I said, what is it? So he said, your first seed, you must sow it. I said, oh, how can I sow my first seed? So he said, go and give that money to your father. Let him bless you. I didn't understand. And in my mind, I was like, this is the same person who disowned me, who didn't even bother, about my well-being, whether I'm doing well or not doing well. He didn't care. I didn't understand. But then I decided to obey. So I went to see my father. And then in the midst of it, my father, I don't know how, the whole thing started. My daddy welcomed me, all right. So we're talking, and I said, oh, Dad, I hosted an exhibition. I realized that the moment I said I hosted an exhibition, his face just dropped. It's like, you can tell from his facial expression that he wasn't ready to listen to that kind of, all my stories. So I was cool, but I said, well, let me just go on. So I went on. Fast forward, I pulled a paper. I said, Daddy, here, your son, I hosted an exhibition. I'm in the news, and da. He saw it, and I said, this is the money I made. My daddy saw the money. It was so huge that he said I should leave his face because he thought it was a scam money. I said, no, this is artwork. I sold artworks. He said I should leave his face. I should leave the house, with that money. He didn't believe it. But then I said, well, this money is from the artwork. So eventually he said I can keep it and bless me. And then I left. So I said to myself that I'm going to change the story. So I started working, promoting art everywhere, promoting art, encouraging artists. And that has been my real story. And today I'm here. I call myself an artist. I've been all over the world, if I may put it that way. Let me put it that way. I've traveled all over the world.
Yes.
Just mentioned in South Africa, Dubai, France. I even hosted an exhibition in the UNESCO in France. UNESCO in France. So who am I? But I started from nowhere, believing in my dream that no matter what it is, I know if this dream is from the man up there, then I know for sure that I will make it.
Well,
I didn't give up.
I have to tell you
and
this.
Also, I'm telling.
Excuse the interruption because we're running out of time, but I have to tell you that you are an artist and you've done great work. And I am really happy that you've had the success, and I look forward to more success for you. I want to thank you for joining me, and we'll have to continue this conversation again. But until we do that, as always, know yourself, love yourself, be yourself, and make today your absolute best day. Peace, and thanks for joining me.